You think your wife's death was an accident, Carter? The man's voice was smooth, laced with something colder than the October wind rattling the diner's windows. William's grip on the coffee pot tightened. Emily's crash. He'd buried that nightmare 3 years ago, convinced himself there was nothing left to uncover. But the man slid a crumpled letter across the counter, his smirk twisting like a knife. She knew. William's world tilted. The diner, the past, the quiet life he'd built, it all unraveled in a single heartbeat. Because if Emily knew something before she died, then someone had killed her for it. The wind howled through Willow Creek that October morning, rattling the loose panes of William Carter's roadside diner. Inside, the air smelled of sizzling bacon and burnt toast, a comforting chaos that grounded him. The diner was a relic, its red vinyl booths cracked and its neon sign buzzing faintly, but it kept him and his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, afloat. 3 years had passed since Emily's car skidded off the icy highway, leaving William a single father with a mortgage, a failing business, and a heart he'd locked away. Lily's giggles were his only lifeline, her crayons scattered across the counter like bursts of color in his gray world. The bell above the door chimed, cutting through the hum of the coffee maker. William glanced up, expecting a familiar face, Old Man Jenkins grumbling about the weather, or a trucker needing a quick refill. Instead, a woman stepped in, tall and poised, her presence jarring against the diner's worn edges. Her tailored coat shimmered under the fluorescent lights, and her heels clicked with a rhythm that belonged in skyscrapers, not this nowhere town. She slid into a booth, her dark eyes scanning the room, wary, sharp, like a deer caught in headlights. "Coffee," William called, wiping grease from his hands. "Black," she replied, her voice smooth but edged with exhaustion. "And something fast." He poured the coffee and slid a plate of eggs and bacon her way, watching as she ate with mechanical precision. She didn't fit here. Too polished, too tense. But William didn't ask questions. Not until she reached for her purse to pay and froze, her face paling. "My wallet," she muttered, patting her coat frantically. "It was stolen at the rest stop, and my phone's dead." She held up a sleek, lifeless device, her hands trembling. William leaned against the counter, his voice steady. "Don't worry about it. Breakfast on me." Her gaze snapped to his, guarded but softening. "You don't have to." "Wouldn't feel right charging a stranded stranger," he said, turning back to the griddle. "Happens more than you'd think around here." Her name was Olivia Harper, though he wouldn't learn that until later. She was the billionaire CEO of Harper Hotels, a titan whose empire spanned continents. But that morning, she was just a woman with no money, no phone, and a flicker of panic in her eyes. When William offered his guest room, "Just till you sort things out," she hesitated, then nodded, too drained to argue. The next few days blurred into a strange, fragile rhythm. Olivia traded her coat for one of Emily's old flannel shirts, the sleeves too short, but oddly endearing. She insisted on helping at the diner, though her attempts were a disaster. Burnt pancakes, spilled coffee, a ketchup bottle that exploded across the counter. William laughed more than he had in years, and Lily latched onto her like a barnacle, dragging her into games of crayons and bedtime stories about her imaginary dragon, Sparkles. One evening, as they sat around William's wobbly kitchen table eating spaghetti, Lily grinned at Olivia. "You're messy like me. Daddy says I'm a tornado." Olivia twirled noodles onto her fork, smiling faintly. "I've never been messy before. It's nice." William watched her, curiosity gnawing at him. She didn't talk about where she'd come from, but he caught hints, a flinch at the sound of car horn, the way she'd freeze mid-sentence, staring out the window like she expected trouble. He didn't push. He was too busy noticing how Lily's eyes lit up around her, how the diner felt less like a sinking ship with her there. Late one night, as they scrubbed dishes side by side, she broke the silence. "I've never lived like this. Quiet. Simple." "Simple's not so bad," William said, handing her a plate. "Keeps the noise out." She met his gaze, something raw flickering in her eyes. "You don't know how loud my life was." He wanted to ask, but the word stuck. Instead, he nodded, and they finished in silence, the clink of dishes a quiet truce. The illusion shattered on the 6th day. William was flipping hash browns when the bell rang, and a man in a tailored suit strode in, David Kessler, Olivia's CFO. His polished shoes gleamed, and his cold smirk silenced the diner's usual chatter. He zeroed in on Olivia, who was refilling salt shakers, her hand stilling as he approached. "Olivia Harper," he drawled, his voice dripping venom, slumming it in this charming little dump. "Vacation's over." William's spatula froze mid-flip. Harper Hotels. The name clicked. Billboards, glossy ads, luxury he'd never touch. The woman who'd laughed at Lily's dragon drawings was a billionaire. Olivia straightened, her face a mass of steel. "I'm not on vacation, David. I'm deciding." "Your empire's bleeding," he snapped. "Stock's down 12% since you vanished. The board's ready to mutiny, and I'm not your janitor." William stepped forward, his voice low. "She doesn't answer to you. Leave." David's eyes flicked him, amused. "And who's this? The knight in greasy armor?" "Someone who doesn't like assholes in his diner," William said, his fists tightening. Olivia touched his arm, her voice firm. "I'll handle it, William." That night, she booked a flight back to New York. Lily sobbed into her stuffed dragon, and William felt his walls slam back up. "You don't owe us anything," he told her at the door, his tone clipped. "Safe trip." She left without looking back, the cab's taillights swallowed by the dark. At the airport, Olivia stood at the gate, boarding pass trembling in her hand. David loomed nearby, his smugness suffocating. The final call blared, but her feet wouldn't move. She saw Lily's tear-streaked face, William's quiet strength, the diner's warmth. Her life in New York, boardrooms, penthouses, endless deals, was a gilded cage. She dropped the pass, shoved past David's protests, and ran, hailing a cab as rain streaked the night. Back in Willow Creek, William was sweeping the diner when headlights pierced the fog. Olivia stumbled out, soaked and breathless, her coat clinging to her. "I couldn't go," she said, her voice breaking. "I don't want that life. I want this." He crossed his arms, wary. "This isn't a pit stop, Olivia. Lily's heart's on the line." "I know," she said, stepping closer. "I'm all in." But her pass wasn't finished. The next morning, David returned, this time with a leather folder and a grin that chilled her blood. "You think you can walk away? Your father didn't die of a heart attack. Olivia, he was poisoned, digitalis in a scotch. And the trail leads to your board." Her knees buckled, the room spinning. "You're lying." "Am I?" He tossed the folder onto the counter. Autopsy reports, blurred photos, a handwritten note. "Crane knows. Victor Crane, your father's old rival, wanted him gone. Now he's after you. Come back, or this town won't save you." William caught her as she swayed, his jaw tight. "She's not your puppet. Get out." David sneered. "You're an over-your-head diner boy. This is war." Olivia's voice cut through, icy and resolute. "You're fired, David, and I'm calling the cops. If there's blood, we'll see whose it is." He stormed off, but the threat lingered like smoke. The revelation shattered Olivia's fragile peace. She hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Marla, who dug into the poisoning. The evidence pointed to Victor Crane, a board member with a vendetta and a taste for power. But there was a catch. David had been Crane's errand boy, feeding him intel for years. The betrayal stung, and the danger felt closer than ever. William watched her pace the diner, her phone buzzing with Marla's updates. "You don't have to fight this alone," he said one night, as Lily slept upstairs. "I've always fought alone," she replied, her voice brittle. "It's why I ran here." He took her hand, his touch steady. "Not anymore." The next twist came from an unexpected source. Old Man Jenkins, a diner regular, shuffled in with a crumpled letter he'd found in his barn, a note from Emily, dated a week before her crash. It read, "If anything happens to me, check the ledger. Someone's watching." William's blood ran cold. Emily had worked part-time at a trucking firm tied to Crane Shell Companies. Her accident, brakes cut, ice blamed, might not have been an accident. Olivia stared at the letter, her resolve hardening. Crane's been playing a long game. He's not just after me. He's after anyone who gets in his way. Olivia didn't just stay. She fought back. She sold her shares in Harper Hotels, walking away from billions to fund a counterstrike. With Marla's help, she gathered enough evidence, wire transfers, coded emails, to turn over to the FBI. Crane was arrested, David vanished, and the board crumbled. But the victory fell hollow until she made it permanent. She bought the empty lot next to the diner, an open hearth and home cafe, a cozy haven with mismatched chairs, warm lights, and Lily's artwork on the walls. She traded her heels for boots, learned to bake barely, and let her hair fall loose. William watched her carve a place in Willow Creek, his guard softening. One stormy night, as thunder rattled the windows, he handed her a key. "What's this?" she asked, her breath catching. "A promise," he said, his voice low. "You're home, if you want it." She kissed him, fierce and tender, the rain drumming their new beginning. The story closed at the Willow Creek Fair, the town ablaze with lights and laughter. Lily darted through the crowd, her painting. Our home, winning first prize, a vibrant splash of the diner, the cafe, and 3 stick figures under a dragon-shaped cloud. William and Olivia stood by the cotton candy stand, her arm around his waist, his hand on Lily's shoulder. The FBI case against Crane was ongoing, but the danger had faded. They built something stronger, a family forged in lost trust and quiet courage. As fireworks lit the sky, Olivia leaned into William, whispering, "I didn't know I could need this." He grinned, pulling her close. Funny how a stolen wallet rewrote everything. The night ended with a final twist. A call from Marla. Crane's talking. Says there's a safe in his office with proof Emily's crash was no accident. You ready to dig deeper? William and Olivia exchanged a look, their hands tightening. "Yeah," he said. "We're ready." In that small town where bacon sizzled and secrets unraveled, they'd found more than love. They'd found a fight worth winning.